Mr. Daniel Impianin asked to step aside.
Court remands 7 suspects in connection with Captain Maxwell Mahama's murder.
Now, on the foreign front, over 40 people die from thirst in the Sahara Desert in northern Niger. Hello, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us for News Hour. We are live on GBC24 and GTV. My name is Akpene Avo Ajaja.
My name is Evans Champon. In the studio to help with the sign language interpretation is Robert Frimpo-Manso. Now, we start off with the first story. President Akufo-Addo has directed the security agencies in the country to leave no stone unturned as they investigate the murder of Captain Maxwell Adam Mahama in Dunkwa, Obuasi.
Expressing his condolences to the late captain's family, President Akufo-Addo said the suspension of the DCE of the area and other measures by the security agencies shows commitment by his government to seek justice for the late military officer and his family.
I was extremely upset to hear about the news of the death of Captain Mahama. To me, a complete waste of life, a valuable life, in circumstances that do not credit to anybody. Very, very sorry to hear about it. And I'd like to extend my sincerest and deepest condolences to his wife and family. I asked the Vice President to go and visit with the family, and I believe today my own wife, Rebecca, has been also to console the widow. One thing which is clear, I've told the law enforcement agencies, the law investigation and enforcement agencies, that they should spare no stone to make sure that those who were responsible for this brutal act are brought to face consequences of and brought before trial in our courts and justice done accordingly. We have to have a country where the rule of law works. I've been fighting for that all my life, and now that I'm in the chair, I have to make sure that there is meaning to it. I've had to do something with some considerable reluctance, but which I felt was necessary to do. The district chief executive made comments in this matter that appeared to have been somewhat provocative, taking the decision that he should be suspended, pending an inquiry into all the circumstances of the matter and the comments, and that he, in the meantime, directed the Minister for Local Government to take the appropriate measures to carry out this decision.
Now, the district chief executive for Dentra Obuasi, Mr. Daniel Impianin, has been asked to step aside to allow for investigations into the media utterances on the killing of Captain Maxwell Adam Mahama. He has been asked to hand over to the Deputy Central Regional Minister. President Akufo-Addo has directed the Central Regional Minister to furnish the presidency with a report on the incident.
Meanwhile, Chief of Defense Staff Major General Obed Wama-Akwa has assured his men that killers of Captain Mahama will not go scot-free. Addressing the officers and men of the Ghana Armed Forces, General Akwa said the matter will be pursued to its logical conclusion. He urged his men to let cool heads prevail.
Captain Maxwell Adam Mahama was on Monday, 29th May, killed by a mob who allegedly mistook him for an armed robber. 6 suspects have been arrested and arraigned before the court. At an emergency staff meeting with his men, the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Obed Akwa, revealed that a team of senior investigators have been sent to the scene to carry out the investigations. He assured the officers and the men of the armed forces that the perpetrators of the crime will not be left off the hook.
No one involved in Captain Mahama's murder will go free, and therefore let cool heads prevail.
He urged the military to remain calm while investigations continue.
The best respect we can pay to our fallen colleague is to ensure that his person is not associated with further violence. We must refrain from any reprisals or retaliatory actions. Yesterday, during the visit of the Vice President, the head of the family made the same appeal.
And members of parliament have condemned the gruesome mob injustice that resulted in the death of Captain Maxwell Adam Mahama, an officer of the Ghana Armed Forces. While the members expressed sympathy to the deceased family, they called for the law enforcement agencies to ensure that the perpetrators of the crime are punished.
I wish to use this medium to unreservedly condemn in no uncertain terms the dastardly acts committed by these perpetrators.
He died a hero, a true Ghanaian hero. He had options, and one was to fight back and shoot his way out of danger. But he spared his tormentors and chose to die at their hands rather than shoot his way out of danger.
Why will the people who know the consequences of their acts, who know that it is legally and morally wrong to even lynch a criminal who is caught stealing in broad daylight, than to murder a lawful and dutiful citizen who was sent to protect the very people who murdered him?
I want to use this opportunity to tell the lawmakers, the police and the Attorney General's Department, that speedy action will send a strong signal to those who do these things that there's no place in Ghana for such actions.
This atrocious crime committed is highly incongruent with the values of Ghana and must be singled out for condemnation.
Captain Adams deserves justice. The people of Ghana deserve justice. But I wish to advise that there can never be any justice outside the law and outside the due process.
Investigations are ongoing. It is now down to the courts, Mr. Speaker, and volunteering of information for due process to take its course.
We expect that the unguided remarks of the DCA, if it is poison evidence and will undermine the evidence, as for that one, you don't need any evidence to act. He spoke, and he spoke inappropriately. He spoke in a manner which hurt the emotions of the family of Captain Mahama and many others. He must be punished and punished strenuously. And if it means relieving him of his duty, that must happen.
Let me and the rest of us pray for the soul of Captain Maxwell Mahama. May his soul rest in peace, and let it eternally remind us as a nation that never again should we as a country allow this to afflict the souls, individuals who may be innocent.
May the soul of Captain Mahama and all other persons who have lost their lives in such unjustful circumstances rest in peace. Amen.
For the killing of Captain Mahama, the Cape Coast District Court 1 has remanded in police custody the 7 suspects arrested for their roles in the murder of Captain Mahama. The police prosecutor pleaded with the court to remand the suspects for 2 weeks to allow for further investigations into the matter. The accused are William Barr, an assemblyman and teacher, Yao Entry, a mason, Bismarck Donko, a farmer, Kofi Nyami and Kofi Bedu, both farmers, Anthony Amwa, an Okada operator, and Philip Beidu, a prison assistant. Let's go over to the phone lines now and speak to our Central Regional Correspondent, Kingsley Bwedu, joins us live from Cape Coast. Hello, Kingsley.
Hello, good evening.
Kingsley, what happened in court today?
Well, I must say that court today was quite very sad. The 7 suspected people who were allegedly involved in the killing of the army captain were arraigned before the court, Section Court 1, Cape Coast. And like you have already indicated, the prosecutor, by name Daniel Abonyo, pleaded with the court so that they give him more time. Of course, he can do further investigation and proffer a better charges against them. Currently, the charges that these suspected persons are facing, they say it's provisional charge of murder. It's a provisional one. It means that they are now going back to do proper and other further investigation and come to court with better charges against them. And it was something else. Many people through the court today, this morning, and most of them were just amazed at the way such people will be able to go that far. People who said that them actually, and many people had their own observations with regards to what they think should happen to them, forgetting that they are suspects for now. So that was exactly what happened in court. But for the lawyers of the accused, as for them, they are okay. He says that, well, it doesn't matter whatever happened. He agreed to the postponement of the case, adjournment of the case to the 19th June, because his clients are only suspects. So until the court or the prosecutors are able to proffer better charges, then they will also take it from there. So that is exactly what happened in court today.
So, Kingsley, when are we expecting them to reappear in court?
We are expecting them to reappear in court on the 19th of June this month. So almost about 2 weeks' time, they should reappear. That's 19th of June. But let me be quick to add that just this afternoon, getting to the evening, 5 more people or persons have been arrested again at Asankrigwa in the western region. What happened was that they were in a vehicle traveling, and that through their conversation, somebody gave a tip-off to the police that they were conversing about the situation, and they gave indication that, of course, they were part of it. So the police arrested them. So as I speak with you, they are on their way to headquarters, Accra headquarters, police headquarters here. So that is exactly what has been confirmed from the DSO police, and that is what it is. So the 5 all being made are now being brought to Accra for further investigation. So if we add them, then they will be 13. But that is what the situation is now.
Okay. So aside from what they were saying in the car, are we certain that these 5 are related in any way to this issue?
Well, according to the police, that is a tip-off. And in the conversation that they were having in the vehicle, every indication points to the fact that they were part of it. And they have also agreed that, yet they are from the town. So the indications are that they are part of those people who are seeking refuge in nearby towns and communities. And those that can travel, they are now traveling somewhere. So, of course, they have been picked. So when they get to the station there, they will be interrogated to know what exactly their involvement were, and so on and so forth. So that is what is happening here. But when you go to
Kingsley.
Hello?
Kingsley, I was going to ask you, do we have any other news from Dentra Obuasi happening in the town currently?
Currently, like we have already indicated, the town is dead now. There is no any serious activity ongoing there. I can say that as we speak, even the district director of education is worried. They have raised issue with the fact that the school, the business school in that community is almost closed down because children are not going to school. Even the teachers themselves are also not going to school because of fear of also being involved or being arrested or whatever. So that has been the situation, and coupled with the fact that BEC just at the corner, that is Monday, they are starting their exam, and the Form 3s are supposed to write. And all of them have been part of it. They are scared. Some of them, their parents have run away with them. And so when they even go to school, none of them come to school. So the headmasters and the people were also worried that now that they're going to start schooling, write their exams, what is going to happen to them? Speaking with the ASP police command in the DSO, it tells me that they had been meeting with the assembly so that they are making arrangements for the Form 3s to come and stay in DSO, that is the capital of the area, so that they make special arrangements for the Form 3 students who are coming to write the exams tomorrow to start writing the exams. So as to whether they will even get to them, except that those that have run away, that is the issue now.
Okay, thank you very much for those updates. Kingsley Nanabwedu is our Central Regional Correspondent, bringing us those updates from Cape Coast. It's still News Hour live on GBC24 and GTV. Let's do some more stories now. The two largest producers of cocoa in West Africa, Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, are in Accra to discuss the cocoa industry. Ghana lost $1 billion in revenue from the sale of its cocoa on the world market from September to December last year due to smuggling of the commodity. So Yokwa Kwakuchere reports.
70% of the world's cocoa comes from West Africa, most of it from Ivory Coast. The two largest producers of cocoa in West Africa are Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. The meeting is a follow-up of an initiative of President Akufo-Addo and President Alassane Ouattara of Cote d'Ivoire. Opening the session, the Chief Executive of Cocoa Board, Mr. Joseph Boahin Edu, said urgent steps have to be taken lest Asia will overtake Africa in the production and export of cocoa, and this will have dire effects on Ghana's economy.
The focus of this meeting is to foster cooperation between the two countries on cocoa production, mechanisms to manage huge drops in cocoa prices, and other topics which have far-reaching consequences on the livelihoods of our hard-working cocoa farmers. It is on this note that 3 technical committees are going to be tasked to come out with strategies which our two nations can adapt to strengthen our position on the source of about 60 global cocoa output.
The Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Wusefri Akoto, said recent developments on the global cocoa market have raised concerns about sustainability of cocoa production. He said this and other challenges confronting the cocoa sector require cooperative efforts among producers, especially Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire.
If the international cocoa price increases are largely occasioned by non-market factors, then the growing supply of cocoa beans could be inimical to the very hard-working cocoa farmers whose efforts remain unrewarded by the market. Therefore, there's a need for urgent, effective, and sustainable measures to first protect our farmers and economies from the harsh effects of these price declines, and then chart a future path of greater self-reliance. This occasion that we are witnessing today presents an opportunity to harness our resources, harmonize our strategies, and march forward with a common objective of improving the welfare of cocoa farmers and our economies at large in our two countries and beyond, to other producing countries in Africa and Asia and South America.
Cross-border trading activities between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, though illegal, have been a topical issue in recent times. Even though various approaches have been used to stem the tide, the desired results have not been yielded. Soyoko Kwakuchere, GBC24, Accra.
The Deputy Transport Minister and Chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade has met with owners of industries in Tema to discuss the poor nature of roads in the industrial enclave. The Deputy Minister hinted that the road is under serious consideration and will be fixed this year to bring some relief to industries and motorists.
The bad state of roads in Tema has attracted some attention from government and the private sector. The motorway and the runabout is currently under construction. One other important road that needs urgent attention is the industrial roads. The road stretched from Nestle Ghana through the DVLA to the TT Brothers area. The dusty road filled with potholes sometimes become unmotorable when it rains. The road always serves as alternative route for motorists when the motorway roundabout is choked. Almost all the big industries in Tema are located on this stretch of the road, and they say their businesses are affected by the poor nature of the road. According to the Deputy Transport Minister, the heavy vehicular movement on the road require a concrete road to ensure durability. Reports say the Roads Minister has already visited and seen the condition of the road and made recommendations for remedy.
Very soon, the tendering process will start. So if that is done and the contractor is picked, they'll move to site. Then quickly, we'll start doing something. You could see from the interaction that it's so dear to their hearts and they want this road to be fixed, which I agree with them. You could see the passion and the worry on their faces that they want this thing to be done as soon as possible. So I've assured them that with the support of the Roads and Highways Minister, something can be done this year.
Industry owners whose businesses are affected have pledged their support to government towards the fixing of the road.
We cannot refuse to pay taxes. That is the wrong thing to do. I mean, it is our duty as companies to live up to our responsibilities. The only thing we can do is to insist that the government authorities it's also their duty to ensure that there are good roads in the industrial area.
Fast-growing slum is another major concern of the captains of industry. They said the phenomenon is not proper for the country's industrial enclave.
It's still News Hour live on GBC24 and GTV. Still to come in this package. $1 billion in rice production in Nigeria. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia opens construction bank in Accra. On the foreign front, at least 44 people, including women and babies, die of thirst in the Sahara Desert in northern Niger. An Italian ambassador to Ghana apologizes to sports minister over racial abuse against Sule Muntari. We'll be back shortly. Do stay with us.
Bring you updates from the world of business brought to you by NIB and Ernest Chemist. And so Africa spends about $35 billion to import food every year. By 2025, the food import bill in Africa is expected to hit $110 billion. But the richest man on the continent, Aliko Dangote, says he is bent on reversing this trend and is investing $1 billion to produce rice in his home country, Nigeria.
This is Africa's richest man and king capitalist Alhaji Aliko Dangote. He was in Accra as one of the panelists at the Africa Financing Forum held in Ghana's capital, Accra. Though most of the participants were high on the economic ladder, but Dangote was far higher with a net worth of $12.1 billion. The Nigerian aristocrat expressed concern that Africa has around 600 million hectares of uncultivated arable land, roughly 60% of the global total, but still import food worth billions of dollars.
We are saying that yes, Africa has 65% of the arable land today as we speak. So if you have this kind of arable land that we have, and when you look at the world map, you look at the latitude of where Africa is, or mainly West Africa is, it's the same with Brazil. So if they are able to produce most of these agricultural things in Brazil, why can't we produce them in Africa? So you can see that the opportunities are there.
For him, the way out is to ensure that Africa invests in agriculture, adopting latest technology and best practices.
Before, when you talk about agriculture, we as Dangote, we don't really look into agriculture. But right now, we're going in big time. Today, we are doing 1 million tons of rice, which we will achieve. We have ordered 10 rice mills to produce 1 million, all at once. And we are doing also sugar, which is about 1.5 million, tons, which we are going to achieve by 2023 in the next 5-6 years. And this will save a lot of effects.
One of the reasons assigned to the inadequate investment in Africa is the perceived high risk. But to ensure that this is put on the back burner, the World Bank says from July this year, it will roll out a facility of $18.2 billion to take care of the risk on the African market.
As of July 1st, we can start implementing this new framework. So therefore, we are very eager to get started and to get also engaged with the private sector, not only in Ghana, but elsewhere.
The African Finance Forum in Accra did not only help in attracting investors into Africa, but also to some participants, it was an opportune time to take some selfies with the continent's richest man, Aliko Dangote. Perhaps the encounter.
Still in business, Vice President Dr. Bawumia has opened a construction bank in Accra. The latest bank brings the total number of banks in the country to 34. Dr. Bawumia said the construction bank will help bridge the housing deficit in Ghana.
The sub-Saharan African country of Ghana is growing at a rapid pace. The construction industry is striving to keep up with the increasing demand for housing, commercial and industrial space, while simultaneously protecting the physical environment and social well-being of the country. To enable stakeholders of the construction industry in Ghana to be more receptive to making the industry sustainable, hence the establishment of the Construction Bank. The Construction Bank is a wholly owned Ghanaian indigenous company seeking to provide banking services in project finance, commercial and consumer banking. This is with specialization in construction, infrastructure and mortgage financing. The Construction Bank is a specialized financial service partner for Ghana's real estate, construction community and infrastructure development. In Ghana, the board chairman of the bank, Dr. Asari Kufu, said the bank envisages to be the choice for construction and infrastructure development.
The driving force behind our vision is anchored on our values of open-mindedness, boldness, and visionary leadership. These are the principles that will inform the decisions we take and how we collaborate with our clients to contribute our quota to Ghana's changing business landscape and the skyline. Our vision is clearly to be the bank of choice for construction and infrastructure development finance, with our name synonymous with innovation, technology, quality customer care, and affordability.
In a goodwill message from the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Mr. Millicent Na, said the country has a huge deficit in infrastructure and needs the financial sector to support. The Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Atachia, said his ministry will dialogue with the bank as regards its open door policy to support investors. The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, said macroeconomic stability can be attained through fiscal discipline and budget deficit decline, as well as low interest rates.
To help the banking industry and construction bank also, we have embarked on the formalization of this economy. And this is why we have identified 3 critical pillars that we are putting in place to ensure that we formalize this economy. This year, by the grace of God, we are going to make sure we begin the issuing of national ID cards in this country. We are going to implement a national digital address system in Ghana. The third part of the formalization process is to have an interoperable payment system where the telcos, the banks, and everybody else in the payment system can interoperate, and you can pay across the same platform and across different financial institutions.
The Construction Bank says it is entering a competitive job market with innovative products.
And still talking about construction, Gasem, a leading cement manufacturer in the country, is to train 1,200 block manufacturers on how to maximize profit while making quality blocks for the construction market. The training, which kicks off in Accra this month, is the main objective of the GASEM Academy launched in Accra. The company has also outdoored a mobile app to support this initiative. Having stayed atop the cement manufacturing and marketing business over the last 50 years, GASEM is still in search of unique selling propositions that do not only cement their leadership but sets them far apart from competitors. The GASEM Academy is a novelty that adds to the tall list of initiatives that gives back to society after a long stay in Ghana. The Academy will train both GASEM and non-GASEM block manufacturers on latest trends and techniques in block making. Cutting waste and creating more jobs will be the focus of the training.
We need to share and then train these block makers so that at the end of the day, we come out with very, very good blocks so that when it goes into construction, then we are not going to compromise the structures that we are putting up through block making.
At the launch of the Academy and mobile application, the Managing Director of GASEM, Morton Garding, highlighted GASEM's contribution to the national economy over the years.
GASEM is in business to help you as block makers, as cement consumers, to have the best possible products and to make sure that we educate you so you can have an even better understanding of the product you are dealing with.
The Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Eugene Boakye Entry, pledged government support to creating a conducive environment for businesses like GASEM to thrive.
It is my hope that GASEM will continue to be Ghana's biggest cement manufacturer and to supply the Ghanaian market with high-quality cement types of reasonable prices. To sustain its position in the Ghanaian market, I'm therefore not surprised that this year's function, the launch of the GASEM Cement Academy and GASEM app, is to bring together all its cement users, especially concrete block manufacturers and masons, by providing practical knowledge of key cement technology and applications to their attention and to train them.
Since its inception, GASEM has produced over 4 million tons of cement. The company has also donated 30,000 bags of the product towards the construction of educational and health facilities nationwide. We go to the interbank market where the cedi stabilized against the pound sterling and appreciated a peso against the US dollar. We also bring you latest prices of major commodities on the international market. That was business brought to you by NIB and Ernest Chemist.
You're welcome back. This is the health segment brought to you by Yamvita and FPAC. Now, what started as a small pain in the teeth of 33-year-old patient Azenaku has now developed into a tumor. Doctors say to reverse his condition, a surgery must be done. The abnormal growth, which started 10 years ago, now has affected her entire face. GBC24's Mavis Ofe, a champion, did some inquiries about the patient from the head of the Oral and Maxillofacial Unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Matthew Boama.
According to the head of Oral and Maxillofacial Unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Matthew Boama, for now, Ms. Azanuku's condition is that of a differential diagnosis, which could be a swollen condition from the jaw, teeth, or the muscles around the teeth. The common tumor which affects the jaw, however, according to him, is called ameloblastoma, and, to be sure, a biopsy is done to identify the true condition.
It could be a myxoma, it could be a cystic lesion, which is called a keratocyst, or any other. These are the benign ones, but it could be a malignant condition too, which is a cancer, basically oral cancer, or any other cancer that affects the mouth.
Amenoblastoma is one of the commonest odontogenic tumors developed as a result of the remnant of teeth-forming cells, which does not degenerate and disappear. With time, other factors grow around the teeth or within the teeth, and eventually such tumors come about.
All these are diagnosed basically with the biopsy. So if you see a swelling, it could be any of them. But to be sure of what you are dealing with, you need to take a biopsy so that you will be clear as to what to do.
A case in point is that of a patient who has been suffering from this disease for the past 10 years. According to her, it started as a pain in the teeth, but has gradually swelled up. Considering her symptoms and history, Dr. Boama said it could be an odontogenic tumor and the benign type, which could be operated upon.
For that duration, it gives us comfort in the sense that we are not dealing with a malignant condition or a cancer. Because a cancer will not wait for you to stay for that period. It would have ended your life. So once the condition has been there for that long, it's likely that we are dealing with a benign condition. Okay, and that's how it starts. Most of them will not come to us because usually it's painless. Most of them are painless. And they are comfortable with it until it begins to pain them or begins to cause ulceration, whereby they apply herbal medications on it. That is when they would like to seek our attention.
He further explains how the procedure for such conditions are done.
Depending on the type and the extent of it, we may have to take that part of the jaw away. If it is not extensive, then what we do, we just take part of the jaw that is having the tumor away, and we can spare the lower border of the jaw. And in that case, we don't chop the whole jaw away. But if you have to chop the whole jaw away, then we have to do a reconstruction after the procedure. And the reconstruction, we use metals to construct the jaws.
Dr. Boama called for a monthly routine check in order to prevent some of these oral conditions. The estimated cost for Ms. Patient Azanuku's surgery is 8,000 Ghana cedis. All assistance can be sent to Pando branch of the Ghana Commercial Bank. Account number 50910101237787. For GBC24, Mavis Affair Champong reporting.
The Ghana Health Service is not happy that policymakers within the health sector hardly use their research findings. They attribute this to lack of a common platform for policymakers and researchers within the health service to deliberate. This came to the fore when health researchers met at a forum in Accra.
The Ghana Health Service has research centers dotted in 3 ecological zones: Kintampo, Navrongo and Dodoa. The research centers delves into communicable and non-communicable diseases. These include malaria, cholera, obesity, lung diseases, among others. However, the findings from these centers are often underutilized since there are no structured platform for exchange of information between researchers and policymakers. At a forum to discuss the work of researchers in the health sector, stakeholders reiterated the need to strengthen and utilize research recommendations to inform policymakers. An officer at the Research Development Unit of the Ghana Health Service, Professor Irene Japan, called for the bridging of the gap between researchers and policymakers.
Basically, if you make your policy and your program decisions without drawing on what knowledge is out there, and research is about generating knowledge to answer questions, it's a bit like taking a leap in the dark. If it's dark and you just jump, you could be jumping over a cliff. Both of them should recognize the need to reach out to each other. The researchers need to try and understand the policymakers, understand their worries. And for some of the examples I've given, they had worries and concerns. That's why they didn't use the research. You are following me? So you need to try and understand them so that you know how to help understand you. And similarly, the policymakers need to also learn to understand the researchers and the value.
The two-day National Health Symposium brought together health researchers from the ECOWAS sub-region and Asia.
Good evening, let's talk sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. The Italian ambassador to Ghana, Giovanni Flavli, has personally apologized to the Minister for Youth and Sports, Mr. Isaac Esiama, over the racial abuse suffered by Ghanaian footballer Sule Ali Muntari recently.
On Wednesday, the 31st of May this year, the Italian ambassador to Ghana and his deputy paid a courtesy call on the Minister for Youth and Sports. The visit was simple to apologize on behalf of Italians for the racial abuse Sule Muntari suffered during a Serie A game between his club, Pescara and Cagliari at the end of April. Muntari walked off after being booked by referee Daniel Minieli for reporting racial abuse by fans of Cagliari. This development wrote the headlines across the world. Mr. Giovanni Flavi said the issue should be strongly condemned.
The minister wished to express his protest about the treatment and wanted to have an explanation. And I was happy to give that explanation on what happened, on the situation of Ghanaian footballers in Italy. And it was a very fruitful occasion to have a conversation with the minister. I believe he behaved in a very honorable way. And that has been recognized by 99% of Italians, by the Football Federation, and by the most important Italian journalists.
A worldwide expression of outrage at the decision and support for Muntari forced the Italian FA to annul the ban, but Muntari's action had already garnered widespread global sympathy and support.
Let's still stay in the capital, where the president of the Ghana Boxing Authority, GBA, Mr. Peter Zoenis, has been re-elected to serve another 4-year term at the second Congress of the Ghana Boxing Authority.
On Wednesday, the 31st of May this year, the second National Delegate Congress of the Ghana Boxing Authority was held at the conference room at the National Hockey Stadium in Accra. It was to, among others, elect new leaders to run its affairs for the next 4 years. Voting was supervised by officials from the Electoral Commission of Ghana. At the end, incumbent president, Mr. Peter Zoenis, was retained unopposed. Mr. Henry Manley Spain beat Mr. Rabon Dodo for the first vice president position. Mr. Manley Spain put 47 of the 76 valid votes cast against 29 obtained by Mr. Dodo. Mr. Abraham Dikwe went unopposed for the second vice president position. Experienced referee and judge, Mr. Fred Gatti, was retained unopposed as treasurer. In the executive member positions, former Greater Accra Regional Chairman, Mr. Lord Isaac Akwe, topped the poll with 69 votes. Alhaji Ziad Moshood had 68 votes. Alhaji Mutala Tofik came third with 66 votes, with coach Lawrence Kaluko picking the fourth spot with 65 votes. The president, Mr. Peter Zoenis, and his first vice president, Mr. Henry Manley Spain, promised not to disappoint.
It means another opportunity to confront the challenges that we were not able to surmount during the first term. It means another opportunity to do things differently and possibly to complete whatever projects we had in the pipeline which we could not. So I think it's a welcome opportunity to do things that we would have wished we could have done during the first term. I'm not saying it's been all gloom. We had limited successes too, but for us, the challenges come with confronting those ones that we could not surmount. And I think that once we have that opportunity, it feels good to have a second term to confront them.
I think you're going to see a much collaboration between me and the president, and we'll be moving a lot ahead. I can't mention some of the things, but I promise that we're going to be lifting up the standard of boxing high. I would also like to use a medium and then assure the corporate Ghana that we will be approaching them. We will need the assistance for us to produce the champions that are in the pipeline that needs to be supported.
The new executives have a 4-year mandate. We go to Tamale now, where the Ghana's fastest Tamale edition has been held. It was seen by selecting the fastest queen and king in the sprints. The Tamale Sports Stadium was the venue for the second leg of the search for Ghana's fastest sprint king and queen. Though it was meant to be an event primarily for athletes in the 3 regions in the northern zone, that is the Upper East, Upper West and Northern regions, it was open to all athletes including those from the Ashanti region. In the boys under 10 category, Adam Abdul Latif came first with a time of 12.60 seconds. Alhassan Abdullahi from Savalugun MA School finished second, with Isaac Benyako finishing third. The girls 15 and under category had Alhassan Sada from Bolga SHS finishing first with a time of 12.23 seconds. Musa Sekina from Upper East came second, whilst Jennifer Yabua from Ashanti came third. In the female seniors event, Upper East Lariba Sakat won with a time of 12.84 seconds. Abigail Atia from the St. Benedict SHS followed with 13.00 seconds. Elizabeth Azuri from Upper East clocked 13.59 seconds to finish third. Charles Ochre from Ashanti and Desmond Ayi from the University of Ghana were declared joint winners as they both clocked 10.42 seconds to beat Northern Region's Salifu Garafu, who finished with a time of 10.50 seconds in the male seniors event. Staged in the presence of the minority leader in parliament, Mr. Haruna Idrisu, the female under 18 category saw Birikisu Isaka from Tamale Secondary School winning the 100-meter event with a time of 11.98 seconds to beat Okes Emmanuel Abuachi and Doris Ifrie from TI Ahmadiyya Senior High School. Prizes. That's all for sports.
The Cowbell Vita-Rich formula has been stolen. Get it back at all costs. Tasting Cowbell with Vita-Rich has the 28 vitamins and minerals you need to be at the top of your game. Delicious nutrition.
Hello, good evening. This segment is brought to you by Cowbell. My name is Valerie Danso. The National Commission on Culture, in collaboration with the Community Youth Cultural Center in Accra, has launched ZongoFest. ZongoFest is an initiative to equip youth in the Zongos with creative art skills and knowledge of the Ghanaian culture.
VIP, now VVIP, is one of the many successful stories to emerge from a Zongo community. The continuous neglect of people in Zongo communities has resulted in increased social vices. The youth in these areas have an event to look up to every year. Zongo Fest will engage the youth with skills in creative arts and culture. A committee has been set up to put the event together. Director for National Commission on Culture, William Boating, explained the rationale behind Zongo Fest.
There are so many, traditional skills that this place can provide so that the youth can learn, and then later on become independent rather than always to look up to the state for work. So this is trying to redeem unemployment using culture as the main vehicle.
Acting Director for the Community Youth Cultural Center, Alice Anlima Kala, expressed excitement about the initiative.
I see it to be a very great event coming, an event that will stretch out onto the entire country, that will bring about change and development in the community of the Zongos.
Chairman of the Zongo Fest Committee, Sokwit Safo, spoke to our team.
After the Zongo Fest events, we will follow up and monitor every participant, what he was able to achieve. If there is any support we can give, we will follow up and give that support. That is what we will do.
The event will be celebrated in every Zongo community.
Time now for some tidbits.